How did the board of directors change when you and others joined it in the late 1980s?
Well, as I remember it, it was kind of like a mom and pop organization. They were all big people in the name of in the field of play therapy, and they didn't have any worker bees. They were looking to expand APT, and they were all writing books and teaching courses. So they were looking for some worker bees, and I'm a worker bee, and Emily Oe was a worker bee, and so I think the focus was on expanding APT and making it a viable, healthy organization. And it was kind of like a beehive. And we wanted to have other worker bees. And so they asked me to do membership, and I jumped at the chance.
Describe why APT began its push for membership growth and the formation of chartered branches.
I think they knew that if they didn't do something, and to make it possible that everybody knew about play therapy, that it was not going to, that the information was there, they knew what they were talking about, but other people even didn't know about them. So I think the push was to get people into the APT, but into the conferences, to be a member of APT. So my job became, contacting people and saying, here, this is what we have. And it was like magic. I think why was because the people that had joined wanted to meet more than once a year at the national conference. And so as they got their membership together, as I worked on getting just individual members, they were complaining that, and sometimes it was across the country and people couldn't travel or didn't travel. But there was a need that they had to be in touch with people that were doing it. And the need was a personal thing as well as a professional. They wanted to learn more, but they also wanted to be in touch with one another and support one another and get support from each other. So as it happened, since I was membership chairman, I knew who was in what states, and I would put them in touch with other members within the state, and they gradually formed their own small groups. And those branches have become very strong, a very vital part of the association. It holds us together at a very personal level, but it's also fun to come to the national meetings and see people from all across the country, and see people that have been here, have been at the conference year after year after year, like old home week. I tell you what I miss now is that I don't have connections. I know they tried to, that's what they did. They took all of the brochures that I had in my third bedroom, and they gave them to you to take over to Fresno, where Kevin was, and that's where, and I said, no, you can't take all those papers out of my bedroom. I'll lose touch with people. And that was the growing pain for me. It wasn't for the organization. Kevin and the board of directors had a different idea of what needed to be done, but I was looking out of my own territory.
Describe how the employment of a professional CEO and staff has changed APT.
Well, these worker bees that we have now as APT members, and the beehive, which is APT, we needed a beekeeper. And we had a lot of king and queen bees, but they did a wonderful job, you understand. But that was not their focus. Well, it was their focus, but it was only they had to teach those classes. They had to write those books. To develop an organization, you have to have focus on that. And I think that's what the board finally decided, was that we needed somebody that was their focus, was the development of our organization. And so we looked for a beekeeper and found one. When the bees get kind of upset and flying around and buzzing everybody, they take a little smoke, and they have a smoker, and they push the smoke into the beehive to calm the bees down and say, all right, that's it. And I think that's part of what Bill did for us, was put a little smoke in there when, when we had our stands that we took on issues. He helped us to see the broader picture, that we were trying to build this beehive and we were trying to make it healthy. And there are certain things you have to do.
What metaphor would you use to define APT over the last few decades?
I think that we have grown. We have a whole colony. Beekeepers just don't have one hive. You understand? They have all kinds of hives, and they're in a little row. And so our chapters, our state chapters, are part of that. We have bee hives all over the country now. We transport our bees, to different parts of the country and help that part become strong and viable. Is that it is very hard for me to come to this conference, but 20 years later almost, and see faces of people up on that stand on the board that I have never seen before, and they're so young looking. So I'm envious of that. That I wish I don't wish I was back where it was, because I would miss all that went on. But I think that's the healthy part.
As we progress, what should be the major focus of the play therapy community?
I don't think we as a people are going to be able to exist unless we make human contact. And I think there is no better place to make human contact than to start with children and help them understand the relationships that are so vital for our survival. And I think we can do that through play therapy with adults, with communities, with organizations of different kinds, to help them be actually in communication with one another and feel a part of that humanity.
What prompted you and your late husband Harold to become and remain such generous supporters of the Foundation for Play Therapy?
I remember Harold was so proud. He gave the first check. He had to run up and write the check and give. Was it to you, or who was it to? Anyway, it doesn't matter, I don't guess, because I wasn't there. He went out and did it all by himself, because he really did appreciate the organization, and he saw the value of what play therapy can do.
As one who helped to grow it, how do you feel about APT today?
Like I've helped deliver a baby that is growing up and becoming, and no telling what this organization will do for itself, of course, because you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of somebody else. I'm glad I'm one of the old grandmothers of the organization.